In the icy depths of the North Pacific lives a colossal creature both feared in myth and revered in science, the Giant Pacific Octopus, known in legend as the Kraken. Yet its truth is far more tragic and magnificent than any sailor's tale. It is not only an apex predator of the ocean, but also a mother bound to carry out nature's most merciless duty. A body weighing 50 kilograms, 9 brains, and 3 hearts. None of these exist to serve its own survival, but rather to prepare it for a predetermined death. For when hundreds of thousands of eggs begin to take shape within, its fate is sealed. Its skin is like a shifting canvas, flowing into red and black patterns of camouflage in the shadows of seaweed. The wrinkles on its body are not marks of age, but medals of 4 solitary years. Each line tells of escape strategies from sea lions and desperate battles with killer whales. 9 centers of thought run through its arms. The central brain governs overall control, while the smaller brains in each limb calculate the prey's trajectory and the temperature of ocean currents. When a crab's claw once crushed its arm, it believed itself to be the absolute ruler of the sea. But when the eggs inside began to warm, instinct, sharp as wisdom, pierced its mind. It learned that all of its strength was but a foundation for a single mission: to give life. Scientists say its kind only reproduces once. When the pain of swollen ovaries began, it hurled itself into an almost obsessive frenzy of feeding. For 28 days, crabs, lobsters, and even small fish became fuel. It had to gain 20 kilograms in 3 months, or its hundreds of thousands of eggs would never survive even the first week of cold. Humans called it an apex predator, but only it knew that every hunt was really a way to save up for death. Every pound gained was a chance for its unborn stars to live. When the eggs finally matured and its arms could no longer grip prey, it knew its mission of gathering energy was over. Its beak would soon close forever. The time had come to seek the cradle of death. Kelp, growing 60 centimeters a day, rose like underwater skyscrapers. It slipped through the forest of green in search of a birthing chamber, when suddenly the shadow of a sea lion swept above. To such hunters, it was nothing more than a shifting lump of protein. Its skin darkened instantly into the gray-brown of stone crevices. It swore it could hear its own heartbeat, yet the predator saw through its disguise. Luckily, the 8 arm brains synchronized and plotted an escape route. The moment a cloud of ink erupted, its 3 hearts thundered in unison, and it vanished into the deep like a phantom. This instinct to flee was carved in its genes, but now it meant more than survival. It meant giving its unborn stars a chance to exist. Finally, it wedged itself into a narrow crevice, a chamber that would serve both as nursery and as a tomb. With its arms, it pulled coral across the entrance, sealing itself inside. Darkness filled the hollow with a salty, tranquil silence. For the next 4 weeks, hundreds of thousands of eggs dangled from the ceiling like clusters of milky white grapes, the stars for which it had traded its life. Each one carried a being like itself, though they would never know their mother's face. Through the long months that followed, it became a silent guardian, stirring water with its arms, cleaning fungus with its suckers, and fanning oxygen-rich currents with its siphon. Yet it weakened. By the 60th day of fasting, its arms felt 1,000 times heavier, and even the rhythmic sway of egg sacs slowed. Its vision dimmed, leaving only blurred outlines, but its senses still caught every threat. When a fishing hook snagged on its soft flesh, its heart jolted. Reflex was faster than thought. Frail arms burst forth with shocking strength. The faint sound of suckers slapping stone was the fiercest warning it could give. Trembling, it still held its stance, for motherhood was not about strength, but the embodiment of it. In time, the eggs turned amber. Faint outlines of tiny octopuses appeared, practicing their first squirts of water inside the shells. Its skin faded from crimson to pale, its muscles dissolving into nutrients. Still, it tenderly brushed the eggs with streams of water as though that gesture could reach into their futures. 7 months later, the first hatchling emerged, a translucent body drifting past its mother's arms like a newborn star. In the very next instant, with one last surge of strength, it pushed the baby back into the deep blue. It was not farewell, but a thrust into a world the mother would never see. Day after day, more young slipped free, while their mother's arms faded like bleached coral. They would remember the salt of the ocean, but never her face. Perhaps fewer than 1% would survive to adulthood, but that was enough. Her genes had been written into them. When the final hatchling departed, her arms collapsed onto the sand, her body melting away like a candle left to burn. Some call it suicide, others call it programmed death. Only she knew it was a devastating romance etched in her DNA. She had given her life so they might be reborn, and they would carry her legend forward through their growth. Empty shells swayed gently in the crevice like wind chimes stirred by the sea. With the last sparks of her nervous system, she commanded her arms to touch once more, to brush against the hollow shells again. Her kind lacks the instinct to embrace, yet they build fortresses of sacrifice with their own flesh. They do not know the language of goodbyes, but they leave their bodies as beacons for drifting young. Those fragile shells dancing in the waves are 1,000 silent lessons. If you ever see them stretching their tiny arms beneath the light, do not disturb them. They are the flickering glow earned after 210 days of fasting. A short poem written in genes for the deep sea. A trade of life itself, exchanged for the eternal survival of the species.